No one's going to be staying in spawn and playing noughts and crosses here, though. There's too much to play for. As we get into round number 1, Marten over on that T side. Banana presence early. Bomb's been left down towards T. Ramp and Ragga going for that initial peek. Doesn't spot anything. The flashbang's perfect, and the double swing's even better. 1-for-1 trades elsewhere. And a nice bit of pressure applied here towards Banana, but the USPs prevail regardless. Launix with one of his own, and as the Glocks continue to push forward, they're taking good ground. The issue is they're losing men in the process. And now as they press on to the site, they continue to fall like flies. A trade is there, but BTN bites back, and it all falls down to Catalyc. 1 versus 3, gets a dink, cheeky stuff, swaps it out though, and as soon as that sound cue's heard, Zello's going to swing right through that smoke. He doesn't give a damn, because he knows that he's going to win that fight all day long. Nexus 1-0. Not a bad start, to be honest. Not a bad way to put your foot down in a map that, in a series that you know that you've got the upper hand within. Marten, on the other side of things, not getting that bomb plant, only getting a couple of kills there as well. It started off really well. They had the opening man, they traded evenly until they went into that 3-on-3 situation. That's where it went downhill, though. They did a lot of damage, but no further kills from that point, and no bomb plant and only 2 kills isn't really enough to justify a buy-up. So they're going to go for a full eco here. Nexus should have a field day. A couple of MP9s. They want to be the ones getting the damage done in this round. It's like Zello there has gone and dinked someone and then said, right, you go take care of him with that MP9. Maki has other plans. Swings it wide with a Glock, takes out the M4. And a little bit of miscommunication there, maybe a little bit of misplacement from these CTs. Nobody watching Boiler Room, nobody watching the apartments. That shouldn't have been possible, but it was. And of course, Maki took advantage of it. Does get traded eventually, but 1-for-1, Glock for an M4, not a bad trade at all. He'll take that all day long. Launix, he gets dinked as well. And these Glocks, they will eventually walk into the blender. It's BTN's MP9, but my goodness. It looked a little bit shaky for a second there. BTN, of course, racking up the cash, though. $600 a piece for those kills with that MP9. So, yeah, he's going to be very happy. He's going to be a happy man, lots of money in the bank. They'll go for a bit of a bonus round here, but with that extra cash, he'll be able to fully invest in the next. This is quite an important round for Marten, even though it's early days. It's very important that you get a round in a scenario like this when you're kind of gifted a bonus round by your opponents. They've got a firepower advantage here. They've got the economic advantage too. This is where they definitely want to be trying to get their foot in the door. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to take a lot of control early on. The deep smoke banana pushes them right back, and the top mid smoke confines them too. Nobody wanting to take apps control, so instead, they sit like ducks, waiting for Nexus to make their next move. These smokes, though, have allowed these MP9s to get very, very up close and personal. And for Rene, on the angle, spots out Maki. Tiny bit of damage dealt, but information gained, and that's the most important thing. Rotation already been called. As we see Zello over towards Library. Idzuo still got the bomb behind him, but are they not going to check this corner? He does. Didn't seem like he was pre-aiming it, but the fast reactions blessed him. Takes a lot of damage. Actually takes a dink from that MP9, and Holmes takes further damage as well as he tries to get the head angle above that broken wall. Launix doesn't allow him to get away with it. Man advantage here, of course, for Marten. But they're playing a really weird setup right now. Oh no, Zello! It was almost comical to watch it from his POV. Launix does a lot of damage, but he drops as well. And that's a real shame. He was in the perfect position, but he was so ready for a flash to come over that he actually turns to play anti-flash as he just gets swung. Shift walking as well. He had no way of anticipating it. And Rene left in the 1-on-4. This has been an interesting round from Marten, but one that actually worked out nicely. I really wasn't sure what they were doing initially. When they left that bomb towards T-Ramp, they had a couple of feelers going into mid and apartments, and then they just had 2 players sending it up banana. Seemed very vulnerable. There was a real opportunity if Nexus hadn't have made those mistakes, or even if Launix had just connected that second shot, that B prong could have just been completely eliminated, and they would have just been 2 men down, and they'd have lost the round off the back of it. But That's all hindsight, and at the end of the day, they still win the round. 2-1, Marten put themselves on the board. Now they've got to face up against the big guns, though. Rene, it was very important that he saved there. He was kind of the only man that didn't have money behind him after that bonus, so him holding on to that rifle means that he's got something more substantial to work with. AWP actually dropped over to Zello. BTN, he's kind of drawn the short straw here a little bit. He got a 3k in the bonus round with the MP9, round number 2. Oh, sorry, round number 2. He thought he was going to have the big old buy. Instead, he sacrificed himself, dropped down to the deagles so that his teammate can have that big green sniper. And Zello just millimeters away from spotting the player and under. Realizes he has to come off the angle, though. They've lost the apartment's control. There's huge potential that a flash could come over the top and he can get swarmed. So has to take a step back. As the nades continue to rain over, they'll fall away further. Ragga, though. Up close to this corner. 3 players on the other side of it. Of course, he's not going to peek. BTN might go for it, though. There's a gap around the edge of this smoke, and as it starts to fade, maybe he has an advantage. An advantage is enough for him to get the early tag. Not the kill, though. Couldn't find the head. Flashes either way. No one's going to peek off of it, though. Both teams scared to make a move. Marten running down this clock. 45 seconds left. That C4 still left over towards the T ramp as well. And it very much looks like we're going to see a B split. Nexus playing off of this quite perfectly, to be honest. They know they've lost top mid control. They've realised that no one's here, and they've either gone back or taken CT, but Zello's watching the backside. They know exactly what's up. Zello's called that they're coming in from the flank, and now they can do a flank of their own from Banana. This is so perfect from Nexus. They just need to make sure they connect the shots. There's the first from Rene. Maki, in the meantime, doubles up. Rene does the same. Bomb dropped, and they can't retrieve it. A smoke separates them from that valuable C4 that will win them the round. And surely at this point they realise it's over. No, Gigod goes for one last hurrah. Catholic manages to snatch it, but not enough time. Has to fall back to Quad. Nothing he can do in that scenario. And that is a wiggle of frustration if I've ever seen one. As Marten Gaming call a timeout. Catholic having a bit of a rough start, currently 002 as we go into round number 5. Interestingly, he hasn't died very much. He's been part of the save crew in a couple of scenarios. The one-man save army in the last. Just a quick tactical there, though, from Marten. I'm interested to see what they go for here. They don't really have the money to go for a proper investment, but with Catholic saving that AK, I'm pretty sure that's what they were discussing. They actually doubled down on the timeouts too, which is interesting. It's very early days here on Inferno. To be, I don't want to say wasting, but to be using half your timeouts so early on in the game, it's definitely a dangerous game to be playing. It's about taking a calculated risk, though, sometimes when it comes to timeouts. And it also comes down to, like, how important those timeouts are for you. Some teams don't really use them. They're not really that fussed about them. They potentially don't find them that helpful. Some teams really, really do like using their timeouts, and they seem to benefit them greatly. But yeah, it's about taking that calculated risk. It's about saying, this is a turning point. This is a swing round in the game, even though it's early on. If we can swing the momentum in our favor, it could be a massive difference maker. And then also sort of calculating the risk of, if it ends up going back and forth and it ends up being close towards the end, are we going to need that extra timeout that we're going to use in that scenario? Going into round number 5, aggression towards Banana early. I'm not really sure what they were discussing in that timeout, because they seem to just be walking into the firing range one by one. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Massive, massive mistake there from Nexus to line up like that. And they've actually lost Banana. This has been a really, really bad round. This has been a very bad round of Counter-Strike. This makes me grumpy. But low HP on remaining Marten players. They've got the sight. They've got the util to keep those angry retakers back. Ragga, though. No one seems to be watching him. Smoke goes down. Doesn't get peaked before it blooms. Catholic's on the front side of it. So All he really has to watch is this coffin angle right now. Doesn't have to worry about the wide swing. Flash over the top does confirm that he's there. Nade should take care of him. It's a slam dunk. Catalytic gone. And all they have to focus on now is new box. But there's no kit. Rennie hasn't got one. Is his teammate? No. And Gigod takes advantage of it. Plays the time. Jiggles out. That was a horrendous round from Nexus. I'm not surprised they call a timeout. That was free. That was gifted to them on a silver platter. Marten called a double timeout. They then went into the round, single peeking bottom banana, 1 by 1. Nexus had the stack there, to be fair, but they lined up all 3 early on. At one stage, it was a 5v2. Then, for some reason, they all lined up. They got sprayed down. And then in the retake, they just play it far too slow. Neither of those defenders had a kit. And they were shifting in, taking their sweet time. Came down to the 2v1. If they had more time on their hands, if they had a kit on their belt, they definitely would have played that better. But instead, they realised, oh my goodness, we've got no kit. We've probably got 5 seconds to kill him. So they both just charge in. And of course, Gigod takes advantage of that. He plays it very well. I can't say the same for the rest of them. Zello with the scout, the only man with a rifle in hand for Nexus this round. Realistically, the scoreline should be 4-1, and Nexus should have a big firepower advantage, but instead it's quite the opposite. Holmes gets tagged up, down to 12. I think that was actually a headshot through something. There's Maki. Sends one back the other way. The scout retrieved, but is it going to matter? Because it's just an absolute bloodbath in top mid. Rennie doesn't get spotted. Flashed off, though. Hears all of the players coming his way. Doesn't quite see them. Sees one go back the other side. Holmes. He'll be on the receiving end of the deagle. BTN yet to rotate. Despite the fact that all the information's there, finally the bomb goes down. There's not really a lot for him to save, so no real reason for him to not try and do some damage here. Economic damage is huge at this point, as Marten don't have a lot of money, and any AKs that can be retrieved would be greatly appreciated for Nexus as well, I'm sure. Rene gets taken down, though. Cursed by the barrel poking around the edge, and for BTN, it's a 1-on-4 that he's not going to go for. He's going to hope for an exit frag. But frankly, Marten, who have got apps control and they've got mid and second mid control, there's no way on earth they're going to be hunting into CT. The only man that could justify it is Idzuo, who would maybe want to go for a little bit of extra money and try and get a kill with that Mac 10, but instead they all just go for the safe exit. And everybody stays alive. 3-3, scoreline tied up. And this is shaping up to be a closer game than I was expecting. Mistakes being made and... oh, cracks slipping through. Only the USPs now to work with as well. BTN, of course, saved that deagle from the last, so he's got the deagle, Kevlar, helmet, flashbang. Nothing else for everyone else, though, so they just go for a 5-man bracket stack, and I don't think they'll have much success with it, because Marten, they're not committing to be, but they've sent a little firing squad in, they've realised it's completely empty, and sooner or later that bomb's going to be working its way around. Nexus, the timed aggression's kind of perfect, though, and if they can take out this bomb before it slips to the top of Banana, they could be in for a treat. Meduzo, though, has support from his teammate. The dink's there, the trade comes through. But the rest of the B players swing top Banana and make sure that further damage can be done for now. A big swing from Zello doesn't have the success he hoped for. And Rene maybe could have found another if he had Kevlar, but as soon as he took a hit, his crosshair went sky high. 4-3, Marten. That was scary. That definitely could have gone the other way. But the damage control was there, and they dealt with it quite nicely. There's that little noughts and crosses board. We didn't see it. From like the top-down view, it didn't look like it was there. Maybe its render distance is bad or something. I don't know. 4-3. Rifles out on everybody, and this is quite interesting at this point. There is money for an AWP. There could have been an AWP investment from Marten. They opt against it. They're trying to play a fast T-side, and whilst they've managed to slip through to A, they've taken a hell of a lot of damage. Raga takes one through the smoke. And Rene looks to try and do the same. Raga continuing to spam. The lack of bullets in that M401S, though. Means that it's not as viable as he gets later into the round. Aids further do damage on that site. And this retake looks pretty perfect. Zello swings wide, takes 2, make that 3. And that's round over. Maki, I don't even think he should be going for this. And he realizes it himself. No point in swinging apps in a 1v5 like that. You get your head torn off. You'd be very lucky to find one in that scenario. And it's just not worth it. They've got money behind them. Maki doesn't have that same level of cash as the rest of his teammates. So holding on to that AK is definitely valuable. And as the scoreline's tied up 4-4, the odds haven't really shifted at all. We're in pretty much the same position as we were at the very start. Now that's interesting, considering I think Marten have shown a little bit more than I was expecting in these early stages. I think the reason those odds haven't shifted, though, is you've got to remember this is Marten's map pick. So if they do let this slip, then they definitely are in trouble. They picked this map because it was the one they picked yesterday against Team Unique, and they won it. It did go to double OT, admittedly, and we could be heading there ourselves based on how the scoreline's gone so far, but they haven't had a huge amount of success on it previously in the Giraffe Masters just a few weeks ago, or about a month ago now, actually. Time flies. They played it 4 times. They weren't able to win a single one of them. All games came quite close, except for the 4 Glory one, but they weren't able to get much done. For anyone that noticed, a 3rd timeout used there for Marten as well. If anyone's keeping count, you'll realise they've only got 1 left. And we're not even a third of the way into the game yet, so potentially worrying. Potentially worrying, I feel, for Marten right now. The fact that they've used 3. As I say, I haven't covered these guys enough to really know their style, but maybe their style is they have to utilize their timeouts early to get that early momentum. Otherwise, they heads get out the game quite quickly. I know a lot of teams like to save them for towards the end. Maki on the other side of this smoke. Zello's trying to glaive it. Is he going to realise there's 3 ready for him? No, and oh my goodness, that's unfortunate. A perfect setup, ready for somebody to push that one. And Marten have dealt with it nicely. Could have lost a man there quite easily. The recovery, it's perfect. Raga does find one back. Catalytic there, though. And how on earth has Maki got out like this with Rene still in pit? Reads it nicely. And Marten are going to make this a 5th. There's no way a retake comes through here. Nexus, it's save time, my friends. No util as well. Lanix has got a kit, but there's no point. It looks like we're going to continue this trend of just going back and forth. And interestingly, diving into kind of previous matchups of the 7 times that Marten have actually played this map, they've played it against 4 Glory in 3 of them. Kind of regional tournaments, or I say regional, not within the same country, but in that kind of like Balkan area, I think it's classed as. Yeah, they played them 3 times. They lost 16-4, 16-12, and 16-10. The 16-4 was the oldest result, and it seems that kind of as time's progressed, they've been able to take more rounds, which I think in some way shows progression. As I say, though, not the best track record on this map, so it's interesting that they've picked it. I think it was a bit of a target pick against Nexus, knowing that they're not too strong on it themselves. So far, they're doing a very good job, and Zello, it's not really a peak that you ever want to be taking as an AWP. If you've got like a perfect spawn, sometimes you can justify it. But peaking that late, it's almost certain that you're going to be held in that scenario. And yeah, the late flash as well into Banana. There's lots of mistakes coming through here for Nexus. This has not been a very seamless game for them at all. And there you go, once again, save time. Rene and Raga, nothing they can do here. Raga certainly doesn't want to be diving in with 61 HP and an AWP. So they get the hell out of there. Marten are starting to find their groove. That 3rd timeout seemed to be the magic one. because they've been pretty unstoppable in these last couple of rounds. And as I say, Nexus have just been making some serious mistakes, and Marten have been capitalizing upon it. I think they realized in the early rounds, okay, they're making mistakes right now. How can we capitalize upon this? And the answer is, okay, let's post an AWP bottom mid and let's hold it for 20 seconds into the round. Let's fly up B Banana. We know that they play this really loose top B defense. Raga desperate to try and hold on to his AWP, but he doesn't want to stop taking the fights. And, well, that's what happens. Marten go hunting. And they crumble. They absolutely crumble. A couple of nice shots from Raga, some decent damage, but to be honest, damage doesn't matter too much at this point. We're going into the later stages of the half. Marten have got lots of money. Nexus, quite the opposite. And here come the pistols. Rene, the only man that can really justify some Kevlar behind his investment. For Zello and BTN, it's USP time. Raga with a Deagle, Launex with a P250. I'm not sure what the plan is for that smoke. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Ah, he's over towards B. Okay, the plan is quite clear. It's take contact, deploy the smoke, call a rotation. That's probably not going to happen, though, because Marten are already in top mid, and they're ready to try and execute here over towards the A side of things. Raga, with that Desert Eagle, could definitely hit a shot here, especially if Launex can cause a bit of a distraction, swings out a tad too late, and they get executed. It doesn't get a lot cleaner than that. Rene wanted to push through the smoke. Aduzo's actually holding it, though. Catalyc leaves himself potentially vulnerable here as he stays in the corner. The issue is that Nexus haven't really got a lot left to work with. BTN creeping through the smoke. Catalyc's going to be ready for it. And Zello left in the 1-on-5. Nothing to save, so no reason to just run away here, but hopeful that an AK comes his way, and it does in the form of Holmes, but he can't hit the headshot. Another flawless round from Marten Gaming as they are running away with this. And the odds haven't shifted at all, which is still really interesting. I'm not sure the reasoning for this at all, but we'll see, I'm sure, as we get deeper into the game. Of course, that Pinnacle banner popping up, folks. Remember, there's a 100% deposit bonus up for grabs for any deposit up to €100 using code FOOL21 when you sign up to our partners at Pinnacle. It's a massive promotion. That's absolutely huge. I think that's the biggest one they've ever run. So definitely worth checking out, folks, to get some more bang for your buck if you do want to place your bets on these matches. Remember, be over 18 and please gamble responsibly. As we go into round number 12, buy back out for Nexus, but there's holes in it. There's definitely holes in it. No AWP on Zello. Lacking in utility as a whole, but definitely lacking in offensive utility. There's not a single HE. There's not a single incendiary. And as they go 1-for-1 in the apartments, it thins out those defenses even further. You really want a 3-man A defense when the A executes coming here on Inferno. Now they've only got 2. They're rather isolated. That smoke from Zello completely missed as well. Does mean that he can kind of play around it into Boiler Room, use it as a bit of a one-way. It missed, but he plays it perfectly. And Raga's going to take advantage too, as Holmes torn between the two angles. Launex in top banana, jump spots. I think he saw a head there, that's why he deployed that smoke. As the flash goes over, he's playing it a bit too wide, but he does manage to slip away. BTN's there on the bait and switch. And Catalyc stuck between a rock and a hard place. Bomb out in the open. I'm surprised he even tries to commit to anything there. They have got enough money to justify it, though. So I think that's why he took the punt. 7-5. Nexus do claw one back, but they're going to have to do the same again, as they'll be up against another full investment. Catalyc, I'm almost certain, will have another AWP. Peduzo will probably drop it over to him. Unless they want to go for something fast again. Oh, okay. They want to go for something very fast. Aduzo with 8k has just pulled out a Mac 10, and Catalyc's not opted for the AWP. Instead, the AK-47. 4 players bombing it up second mid. And I think we could see some kind of crazy A play. Maybe an Apps waterfall or something. They're going to be met by some serious firepower, though, as Zello and Rene want to get aggressive themselves. Zello, though, needs that support as the peak comes through. He takes the dink, and oh, it's all falling apart. That's what happens when you try and get aggressive into the apartments and you're met by firepower. Spraying away the AK-47 on the site. Good for 2, but it's traded. Launex B-hopping in lower mid. I think that's bad information. I think what's probably happened there is the apartments players have said all 5 are at apps when there was only actually 4. And he's thought that he can just kind of have a leisurely stroll through mid without any contention. That wasn't the case. There was only 4 in the apartments, and there was 1 lower mid waiting for that rotate. Very well played from Marten indeed. I questioned the buy at the start. I understood what they were going for, but I wasn't sure about its real potential. BTN, you can see the legs. His teammates should be calling this. That's a 4x3 moment. Unless every man on that side is playing the same res, I'm surprised that no one's called that one out. That's a real shame. 8-5. Marten steal away another. Look at this buy from Nexus. This is rough. This is seriously rough. They weren't able to save anything in that last round. Okay, they got 3 kills, and with a little bit of money behind them, they can go for an AWP, but the AWP needs to hit its shots, and Zello's struggling today. Retreating through the molly as well, takes so much damage, has to stay on car to stay alive. A brilliant flash from BTN actually saves his life there. If that flash didn't come over the top, I'm almost certain Maki would have continued to spray through and probably would have found him there. As the CT smoke comes in, BTN's position made pretty much redundant. Maybe not, as he does some damage through the smoke. Launex takes the kill. They've lost the site, though. Now they've got to play retake. Man disadvantage. Zello on very, very low health. BTN and Maki in a similar boat. That nade falls a tad short. Still does decent damage onto Maki, though. And as Rene comes in from Banana, he's the playmaker right now. He either needs to find a couple of kills or stay alive and cause a distraction. There's the first. That's going to cause a big ruckus. Now all eyes are on Banana. First man out in the open behind the fountain. Deagle can't connect to the Aduzo, doubles down. 2v2. Rene takes the man in the dark corner, but Aduzo's still alive and kicking. There's no kit on either of these players. They need to speed this up and it's round over. Rene swings alone, knows that he hasn't got the time to work with. And Zello, I have no idea what Zello's doing here. That's it. He dies to the bomb. That was so foolish. So foolish. It was obvious with no kits, they had no time. The first swing from Rene, it's justifiable. The fact that Zello even sticks around there, I don't know what he's playing for. The kill means nothing. The kill means absolutely nothing because they've got loads of money and they're going into the last round of the half. So Marten are not strapped for cash at all. But for him, it means he's now down to a scout instead of an AWP. That's a real shame. Look, at that point, literally as soon as that kill comes through, Zello needs to turn around and bomb it to CT. It's those split-second decisions that make all the difference in games like this, and Nexus's decision-making has been completely off. Obviously, just a blitzer around here from Marten. They're not challenged at all up against this shoddy buy from Nexus. They're just going to bomb it down B. Massive, massive credit to Holmes this game. Calling those 3 early timeouts, I wasn't sure about them. When that third came through, I was scratching my head thinking, are they really calling their third timeout right now? But it was from that point that everything went perfect for Marten, and Nexus just crumbled under the pressure. There's that banner again. If you missed it last time, folks, code FULL21. It's in the Twitch panels as well. So if you decide to check it out later, you don't need to be taking a snip into all of it or anything like that. You can head down to those panels, click over there, sign up to our partners at Pinnacle. Make sure you're over 18 and please gamble responsibly. But they've got some brilliant promotions going on, so definitely worth checking out if you are a Pinnacle Full Series regular, or maybe you plan to be. 10-5, a hell of a half from Marten. And they look to try and press it further. Very interesting play, though. I'm not sure about that one. I know it's kind of an old classic on Inferno to send a couple of players down mid and try and go for that mid-banana pincer, but it seems like Nexus have read it like a book. And it's a complete shutdown. Aduzo, 1 versus 4, missing all his shots, does finally hit ahead, but Launex is there to trade. And actually upgrade to a P250, not bad at all. 10-6. Marten are going to go for the force buy. This is where things could slip away for them. Nexus, they didn't get a bomb plant that round, so they don't have that little bit of extra cash that they would normally have, but they've still got a big advantage. 3 AK is a Galil, a Mac 10 on BTN. A fair amount of utility faced up against an interesting buy. 3 MP9s, a Deagle, a Scout, only a single flash and a single smoke. And it looks like mid-aggression again. This time, Nexus don't seem too ready for it, and Holmes does a hell of a lot of damage. Doesn't quite find the kill. Catalic's there to do so, though. Maki, aggressive in the apartment, spots out Rene. It's a freebie. With no apartments control, you've got to be a little bit more aware than that, my friend. As we come into the 3-on-3, unfortunately for Marten, they've not been able to retrieve either of the two weapons that they've dropped. And actually, Nexus's damage control has been pretty good here too. Remember, the two people that are missing are the two players that had the Scout and the Mac-10. Gigod's made a incredible discovery, though. He's found the bomb over towards T-Ramp. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't over-aggress. Oh, that was his. That was his for the taking. He had the information that there was one pushing top mid. He had the bomb by towards T-Ramp. If he'd have just tucked away, there would have been some serious potential that Nexus would have just gone back down T-Ramp to retrieve that bomb, kind of semi-unknowing. He could have found another kill. The rotate could have come through second mid, and that could have played out very differently. But yeah, pushing up, peeking into Banana. He's never going to win that fight against the AK, not at that range, and not when he's not aware that there's someone close left. Should have been. Nexus at that stage would definitely be headed back for the bomb. And Banana would be the only real route that they'd do so. Only pistols to work with now. Maki, the only man with an upgraded pistol. That's a Desert Eagle for Rene. Ooh. A nice headshot. But Maki's there to trade it right back. That Deagle being put to decent use so far. Ragger. Oh my goodness. That is a mess. That is messy. Could have been a single kill. Instead, he's kind of done 70 damage to two different players. Maybe not the outcome he'd hoped for, but his teammates should be able to pick up the pieces. That's Catalyc gone. Now back into the 3-on-3. Once again, though, Marten, they've found their kills at range, so none of those AKs that have been dropped have actually been picked up here by the defense. With no Kevlar behind them, they're now seriously vulnerable. Maki needs a masterclass play. And some crazy headshots here to hold the line. No flash before they peek, though, Nexus. That could be a fatal mistake. Instead, it's only fatal for the one. Trade comes through. Rene, of course, drops, but it all falls down to Aduzo. The USP, now an AK-47 picked up. The C4 goes down. And that's Aduzo's cue that he's got about 40 seconds to get in on this one. If he wants to take a punt at this instead of just saving the AK. I think it's worth it, to be honest. All kind of apps. See if you can catch someone sort of out of position on sight. Maybe peeking towards the pit. If you can't, then just fall away. But maybe there's that sight man. There he is. Knows that's the first drop. Knows the second's probably below him. And unfortunately, Zello is just too ready. Fairly well played there in that 1v1 scenario from Nexus. But it should have never come down to that. They're against the full eco. The 1v1, it's cost them economically and greatly. That's a rough start. That's rough stuff there from Nexus, but they do manage to take it over the top. A very successful eco round from Marten. They might be kicking themselves a little bit that they weren't able to snatch the round away, but now's their time to do so. They've got the full buy for the first time in this second half after the 10-5 lead at the halfway point. They're going to try and get something done. Catalyc right through the edge of that smoke. Perfect stuff onto Zello. Ragger looking to trade. Catalyc just needs to make sure that he doesn't overstay his welcome here. If he keeps peeking, he's in trouble. Ragger, ooh, if he could see that through our rose-tinted goggles, he'd be kicking himself right now. Millimeters away from connecting to the head. He was tracing those bullets almost perfectly. And Catalyc taking a step back. I like this. It really felt like sticking on that corner was just suicide, especially as those nades were raining over. Nexus, though, have burned almost all of their utility. Catalyc's actually somewhat blocked that smoke. And as a secondary smoke goes down too, they're going to try and play around it. Aduzo, oh, they're watching it, but is Ragger going to be ready as he starts to walk away? They've got a single smoke grenade left to try and execute onto this A site. And because Marten haven't been too challenged on A, their A players have still got a decent amount of util. Gigod, Maki, between them, they've got a full belt of it. An incendiary, a HE, a smoker, flash, everything that they could possibly need. The issue is they could really do with an extra man right now. The rotation from Holmes went over toward B. Now he's on the back foot trying to get back in. As the push comes through, oh, Maki Tries to play the off angle and it goes horribly for him. Gigod swings as well and Raga executes. Oh, that is a shame. Marten had a real grasp on that round. I thought that was theirs for the taking. After they had that man advantage, they depleted Nexus's utility. All they needed to do was either gamble correctly on the site or hold the line there on A for long enough for a rotate to come through from Holmes. And instead, Maki plays a semi-questionable off angle. I mean, I understand and I respect the off angle. I'm a man of playing in bizarre positions myself. You stand on some box, play for that first, but he got instantly head popped off. I think he got him pit. I mean, jiggled short for the info. Underestimated how quick Raga really was with that sniper. We go 10-9. Scoreline almost tied up. Of course, Marten were able to save 3 rifles in that round. And actually, even though the scoreline's not even tied up yet, they've got the max loss bonus here in the second half of things. So they will be able to fully invest around it. We saw that code popping up, and it's still at the bottom of your screen, folks. Full 21 at teb.gg/full, where you can sign up to our partners at Pinnacle. Flash goes in towards mid. Aggression once again from Marten. There hasn't been a huge amount of success with this. We saw it in the pistol, and it didn't work too well. Holmes wants to try his luck again. Rene in second mid, waiting for some aggression. Not going to spot it, but if Holmes tries to head back here, that's where he'll be executed. Instead, it's Raga to do so. But as I say, if he tried to backtrack there, he'd have been dead to Rene regardless. Maki makes his presence known in bedroom. Rene's going to find that kill all day long, but it's the trading game, and the trades are perfect. Gigod finds one right the other way. And we go back into a 3-on-3. Aduzo now called upon to try and defend this B site. Big opening kill. But he has to fall off of it. Not much more he can do there, and he knows he can't overstay it. Otherwise, the retake won't be viable. So it's a sweet time. My concern right now is what is the man doing in second mid? They've got all of the information that both of these players are on the site, and he's still shift-walking second mid. What's going on? What's going on? Still shift-walking bottom banana. Come on. Oh, there we go. Aduzo takes care of him anyway. They had the info. They knew they were both on site. Maybe not. Maybe that info wasn't relayed to him. That's probably more of a miscommunication moment than anything else, but not a bad retake from Marten at all. And I really like the way that Aduzo actually played that round too. Playing the coffins, knowing that as the anchor, he needs to just find one and fall away for the retake. If he tries to be the hero there, sticks around, tries to go for a multi-kill, then it comes down to a 2-on-2. You've got one player in CT and you've got one player in A-Apps still. There's no way that retake's happening. But yeah, with that man advantage, they were able to do it quite nicely. Nexus, back on a buy. Not the best of buys. Really lacking on utility. Launix only down to that Mach 10 as well. But it's not terrible. It could be sufficient. Aduzo boosted up. Is it red? I don't know. He kind of went for the spam, but BTN missed it completely. He takes more damage. In fact, he hasn't dealt any damage at all, and he's taken a fair bit of it. Needs to be careful now. He's actually stuck behind logs, and there's an incendiary coming his way. He is seriously screwed, and he has to just try and commit to a fight and hope he can take one to the grave with him, which unfortunately he can't. 5-4, or 5 versus 4. And Marten looking like they might be able to take a 12th hit. I was worried for their CT side as we kind of went into this this second half. Bearing in mind, Marten have got effectively a 50-50 success rate. In fact, according to HLTV, like they don't really favour either side. I was a little bit worried when we saw their CT side struggling a little bit, but last round was a lot better. This round, they've missed the mark again. They had a great start, but it slipped away. As soon as that execute come through, they lost every single fight, and that was that. For Nexus, interestingly, they tend to favour their CT side here, so it's kind of bizarre that they're having a much better time on their attack. My issue with Nexus right now is I've always considered Nexus as like a good team. I've always considered Nexus as a good team, and I've always considered Nexus as a team that could definitely cause upsets against top sides. I've seen it in the past. Obviously, as I say, like the core of this roster's been around for 5 years now, and over those 5 years, they've taken some really, really good results. They've won some big tournaments, they've beat some big teams. But when you look at their results, especially recently, a lot of it is regional matchups, and it's very, very difficult to translate that into translate it when you're looking at the statistics and when you're looking at the round distributions and things like that into like European mainland CS. And when they go into these kind of bigger tournaments, you look at their previous results, and there's just lots and lots of data on them playing Romanian teams in Romanian tournaments. And yeah, I'm not massively familiar with lots of the Romanian scene. I know certain teams within there, but I don't know how their kind of skill and their ceiling translates. 11-10 though, and Marten have just used their final timeout. A good time for it, to be honest, even though it might come to bite them on the ass later on if they need it. This is a very important time. They've still got control. They've still got the lead. They managed to maintain it a couple of rounds ago when they took their 11th. Now they really need to turn this around, though, because this second half isn't going well for them at all. Remember, they were 10-5 up when the sides switched. Now it's 11-10. They've won 1. Nexus have taken 5. They've done a lot of early damage. That nade stack towards Banana actually worked really nicely. Nexus were kind of lingering around the back of that bottom Banana smoke. Right now, though, the bomb's still been left towards T-Ramp. So even though Nexus have committed a lot here towards taking control towards A, they've committed a lot of utility, they've committed a lot of the time in the round as well. That bomb's still lingering down towards T-Ramp. And as the smokes continue to go bottom Banana, I actually really like this play from Marten. Both of the early B players that were with him dropped smokes on the floor towards Car before they rotated. So it's given this illusion that A, there's more players towards B than there actually are. It's only a Duzo. And B, they can continue to keep that Banana control. A Duzo pops one through the smoke. That's his indication that they are trying to head back towards B, and he'll get the hell out of there. Another kill from Holmes elsewhere. Rene bites one back. And right now, Marten are a little bit confused. They've been given mixed messages, and Rene's still pressuring onto A. This fake has become more than a fake. It's become huge damage, and Aduzo needs to hold the line. Unfortunately for him, he's dropped by Zello. 2v2. The bomb goes down in the final seconds of the round. Wow, Nexus cut that fine, but it seemed calculated. And for Zello, on this angle, he just needs to hit this shot. Holmes definitely doesn't want to peek until his teammate's in position. Both of them have got kits. They don't have a lot of utility, though. A HG, if placed perfectly, could take out BTN. And that could be a major difference maker. He's not watching Banana, though. BTN, hello? Anyone home? What is going on there? Back turned. Zello finds the shot into the CT, though. And with no time on the clock, he plays it perfectly. Tucks himself in the corner, finds the kill onto Gigod. I'm not sure at all what BTN's doing there. That's really bizarre. I feel like it would have made a lot more sense for him to play maybe first oranges if his teammate's new box holding CT. Or actually, I suppose he's dark. But imagine, right? Imagine in that scenario if the Banana player right there walks up, doesn't take the fight with the man on coffins, doesn't take the fight, and instead walks right up, takes the fight with the player in dark, then kills BTN on coffins. That would have been it. Would have been round over. No one was watching Banana. Maybe, again, maybe some bad info. It seems really bizarre that they just weren't focusing on Banana at all there. Either way, they win the round. Zello, the monster, the man, the myth, the legend, ties things up 11-11. Oh, and the boost actually timed quite nicely. Maki only good for one, though. Launix and Raga take care of him. And as the nade lands on site, Gigod dodges it. Tucks himself into mini pit. Man disadvantage. And Excess kind of needs to get a wiggle on here. Every second they waste up in brackets, it's just time that they're giving Marten to get these rotations in from B. There's only 2 MP9s on the rotate crew. And with the silence, I think that they're starting to second guess it. Duzo staying over towards B. Are they actually trying to go for a B ramp right now? Oh my goodness, what is this? Holmes doubles down. And all of a sudden, a 4 versus 3 with a massive advantage to Nexus. It's just become a 2-on-2. Nade does some good damage onto Gigod. Somewhat evens the playing field right now. Rene with the headshot, though. That was huge. If he loses that fight, it's kind of round over. But winning it turns the tides immensely. Aduzo, smart stuff. Knows that there's an AK towards top mid, so he throws his MP9 further back so it doesn't make the sound cute. Now creeping up from short. They have no information on him. Takes the fight with the man on site. Doesn't know the seconds in graveyard. And Rene actually plays it quite well. Baits his teammate, but I think that was probably the plan. I think the plan there was, right, bait me, I'm going to watch long. If he does creep up short, then the round's yours because you're in graveyard, and he's probably not going to check it. 12-11, Nexus having a hell of a T-side right now. They really do not want to let this one slip, and they want to try and take this series in a 2-0 fashion. Remember, this is their opponent's map pick. We're going to be headed over to Dust 2 next, where Nexus are the kings. That's their turf. We don't want to mess with them there. Marten have played it twice. A 16-7 win and a 16-7 loss, both of which, though, against lower caliber opponents. Fair bit of damage done here, actually. Bear in mind, this was just a half buy, bomb it down banana. We've got the max loss bonus, so we don't need to worry about cash too much. They've done a hell of a lot of damage. Okay, they've only found 2 kills, but Maki's on cleanup duty. MP9 from behind. Rene definitely wary that someone could come in from the flank. They've had no control elsewhere in the map for the entirety of this one. They've been fully focused on Banana. But if timing doesn't bless him, and the angle doesn't bless him either. Rene, that was his job there. That was his job to make sure that the flank couldn't be deadly, and teammate's been caught out. He's probably quite frustrated right now. Catholic on the site on his own, only with a 5-7. I counted him out of this, but he's actually found himself the first. And they think he's dropped off the box. What a mistake to make. And it's all fallen away. An eco round. Marten. Oh my goodness. They just won't let this slip. They won't let it slip. As soon as Nexus tie things up, as soon as Nexus take the lead for the first time in quite some time, Marten pulls something out the bag like that. That's such a huge mistake. And Zello, with low HP and an AWP, should never be the first man in there. They know it's a 2v1 on the site. They know that the second man is deep banana behind a smoke, and that the player on site's only got a 5-7. He was on top of first oranges. Now, okay, the smart play there would probably be to drop back, or maybe not the smart play. The smart play was obviously to stick around, but the anticipated play there is for him to drop off. That's why Zello's trying to peek around that box. But to completely ignore the fact that he could still be up there is definitely a mistake. Now, what I'm interested to see, and we won't get to see a replay of it or anything, but what I'm interested to see, because we were focusing on Banana at the time, is whether Catholic actually jumped there when he was on that first orange box. When he found that first kill, if he jumped to kind of fake him dropping down, that would have been huge. If that's what he's done and that's why Zello's peeked it wide like that, then that is such a 200 IQ play that wins him the round. If he hasn't, and Zello's just playing off of instinct and no sound cue, then it's questionable. It's definitely questionable. Nexus with a rough buy here as well. That round kind of meant everything for them. I mean, Marten would have been on a buy here regardless, but now they're on a buy. They've got extra money, and really, they're not up against much. Zello, big opening, instantly traded though. Launix able to pick up the AK, but his position now known, because not only has the AK just disappeared from the floor, but he's also reloaded. Lets his teammate die as he tucks himself in the corner to reload, but trades it, so all's well. 3v3. Coming up short, no utility though, except for that flash, and the flash put to good use. Perfect use, in fact, as Launix takes the first. Rene doubles down, and for Aduzo, it's probably save time. I don't know. He's got money. Maybe he goes for this. No. All right. He's getting out of there. Getting the hell out of there. I can't remember if they had an AWP as well. I think they did, but it's not retrievable. It's over towards A. That's an interesting position. I like that. I've seen this before, but you don't see it in pro games very often. It's not really utilized, but it actually is perfect. You see their legs before they see you. Jot it down, folks. If you're at home, you're saving, you've got good movement, or maybe you've got a teammate that can boost you. Definitely something you can use in your matchmaking games and whatnot. Oh, Catalyc taking some damage from that molly. Nade comes over. Ooh, it's quite perfect, actually. And the thing is, with nades like that, what you've always got to remember, even though it doesn't feel like a huge amount of damage, for the CT side, those M4s, when you tag up 3 players down to sort of 70, 80 HP, all of a sudden those M4s become AKs. That one-hit headshot potential is absolutely there. And when you're tagging up 3 players like that, it's just perfect. Another interesting off angle from Maki as they peek. It works nicely. 2 kills found. Nexus looking to try and pick up the pieces. Rene, big whiff though. And oh my goodness, what is Zello doing? He just runs out with no gun. Luckily, he's not punished for it, but he does only trade 1 for 1. BTN, bomb retrieved, tapped down on the side behind the default box. Now has to clutch up a 2 versus 1. Catalyc on the angle, fires off the shot. BTN needed to find the kill there, but as he pokes out, finds the first, continues to jiggle, and Catalyc doesn't even pull the trigger. BTN plays it to a pretty perfect degree, and Marten, such an important round, falls away. Oh my goodness. That is heartbreaking. Absolute heartbreak. The timeout for Nexus now probably has multiple purposes. Firstly, to cool down off of BTN's big clutch. You need just a couple of seconds to cool off, let that adrenaline kind of pump through your body, and then maybe you stop shaking. I don't know. It's a big clutch. That kill there onto Aduzo was really what secured it. Catalyc's then just left in such a difficult spot there. Has to take the 50-50, and I don't think he was expecting BTN. Certainly if I was in that situation, when BTN's jiggling left side, I'd expect him to go for the right side swing, and I think Catalyc was probably holding that right side. I don't think he was expecting him to just jiggle on the left, and then actually commit to that peak, but that's the thing. As I say, 50-50 in those scenarios. No AWP available for him now. Instead, the M4. His teammates down to those MP9s. Gigod has a big job. Nexus actually called a timeout at the start of this round. I'm not sure if it was their 3rd or 4th. I think it might have been their 4th. Which means they've got none left. Raga needs to be aware that there could be another man in apartments there. Punished by it, but now they've got the sound cues. Marten are making so much noise in apps, they know exactly what's up. BTN, I don't know, peaks that a little loose there. Costs him. 2 MP9s coming in from top mid. If they can take care of this apartment's presence, then it should be their round. The util continuing. Now, the smoke's deployed. They've run out. Oh, the shots through the smoke as well. Launex, nothing he can really do. They've discovered that Zello's in pit, and they're going to try and swarm him. Tagged down to 22 HP. Needs to take the fight. Swings really wide there. And in a 2 versus 1, it's not the play. They're both there ready for him, and they take care of him. Marten, against all odds, pull off that one and make it 14-13. Not allowing Nexus to get onto map point that easily. They're playing for the win. Just the pistols here then for Nexus. I like the fact they dropped down to an eco here. Would have been foolish to try and commit to some kind of buy. If they'd have done so, they'd have no money going into the 29th, and then they'd be playing for that overtime. Aduzo opens things up with an easy kill onto BTN. Second potential. Smoke goes down though. As Raga, he knows he doesn't care about the kill, he just wants to get that bomb. And Aduzo's actually just confirmed that C4 is still there as he jumps off the logs. He's going to continue to spray it. Raga, despite the fact it was against the M4A1S and those tracers aren't there, he almost kind of traces the sound cube, pops the head right through that smoke. As Maki finds one elsewhere too. Zello. He's taking some serious control here, and you know what? They're playing for a bomb plant right now. And actually, ultimately, potentially the round. Raga's found himself an AWP. If he could swap with Zello right now, I'm sure he probably would. The issue is they still haven't got this bomb. As Raga starts to work his way back, aware that there could be someone close. Is he going to check the hard corner? If he does, this is perfect. Oh, he hasn't peeked it wide enough. Zello's fallen. Raga will certainly fall too. Ooh, does manage to slip away just in time. Picks up an M4 with no bullets in it, though. It's a bit awkward. Oh, he's screwed. There we go. Maki takes care of him. Marten actually played that really well. Really, really well. Nexus had an opportunity there. I feel like Raga needed to grab that bomb a little bit earlier before walking all the way up Banana. They could have had that pincer going. He could have been on site when Zello took the fight in church and could have been there to support his teammate. Instead, had to go back and retrieve that C4. Now, I don't understand this from Marten. 3 MP9s. They know that Nexus are going to be on a buy here. Or at least they should know. Is this a misread, or are they going for something crazy here? The Molly's missed bottom mid. They're pushing into Banana. They're going for so much aggression right now. The nades just aren't doing any damage, though, and BTN's got all of the information. They're just going to bomb it up A right now because they've got all of the info that the CTs have pushed B. They don't know about the MP9s, of course, but so much free real estate just gained. No contention towards long at all just yet. Do so, though. What on earth was that? Right through the smoke. Laser vision. X-ray vision, maybe. E-God. Smokes off pit, gives away his position, stays alive, but now vulnerable. Trades elsewhere, swings out and finds the kill though. The MP9 does the damage, but BTN's there to support. Are they going to expect Maki in this corner? The first certainly doesn't, but it's Rene. He's low HP, he's expendable. BTN though needs to find this kill. And as Maki jiggles, his arm spotted, he's tagged down low, goes for the wide swing, and he had to hit it. He had to hit it, and he doesn't. 15-14, Nexus. Match point, a chance to close this one out. And you know what? I really questioned it. I really questioned it last round, why Marten went for the buy that they did. But what it actually means is that they've now got enough money to buy into this one. So they kind of had 2 shots at this. They could have tried to take it there and take it to match point there. That probably would have made more sense. But they kind of go for like this half investment, and it means that even if they do lose it, which they only very narrowly lost it, admittedly, then they've got a second shot at it as well in round number 30 with a lot of firepower behind them. Massive nade stat towards Banana does tons of damage. Nexus, despite the fact they won last round because it came down to that 1v1 situation, they just don't have money. 2 AKs, a Galil, 2 Mac-10s. This is rough. When you then factor in the fact that they've not got much health between them either, it becomes complicated. The crossfire's perfect. Aduzo was fully flashed there. He should have been killed, but his teammate Holmes is just such a rock that you couldn't rely on in those situations. Zello now 1 on 4. Does know that Holmes is on the other side of things. He gets team flashed. Oh no! That's a freebie for Zello. A 1 on 3. Still unlikely, but definitely possible. And he wants this. He doesn't want to go to overtime. He wants to close it out in regulation. Nexus have got that advantage right now. Molly goes down towards Ruins. Not going to do too much just yet. And as he peeks out, Catalyx takes care of him. We're going to overtime, folks. First map. These 2 teams are inseparable. And Marten seem to continue their trend, like they did up against Team Unique the other day, of going to the bonus rounds. Well, rounds like this, the big guns come out. You've got 16k, there's no reason not to. AWPs on either side, and so much utility, my goodness. In the closing rounds of the map, because the economy wasn't too strong for either one of these teams, they were kind of in a situation where they couldn't, they had utility, but they couldn't really afford to just bomb it down mid and banana like that. They were a little more conservative with it. They didn't have as much to play with. Whereas now, they've got all of it. So just send it down banana, see what damage you can do. Unfortunately for Marten this round, it didn't do all too much. As the execute comes in on A, to be honest, the defense are ready. Triangle formation on the A bomb site, 3 players there. 3 points of contact. And they're ready. Look at that. Gigor perfect up from the balcony. Now his position's known, but as they try to peek into him to help and trade, they're going to fall like flies. Nexus continue to press onto this site. They think that the only 2 players are the 2 that they know about, but Maki is there. The mysterious man. The one that didn't pull the trigger until he absolutely had to not give away his position. They call him Houdini, and that's why 3 kills. And a 16th round, full 21, remember the code that you want to be using when you sign up to Pinnacle. 100% deposit bonus. That's a lot. That's 100%. That's double your money. Up to 100 euros, of course. You can't just put £1 million on and then... Or you can't put on £500,000 and then become a millionaire. I wish you could. If you could, I'd do it. Not that I have that sort of money. I'd borrow it. I'd take out a bank loan. Second round of OT. Back on the big guns. Nexus, don't have to worry about their economy all too much. They're on the T side. Everything's that little bit cheaper. If it was the other way round, and Marten had lost that opening round of OT on the CT side, then they have to be a little bit concerned, because you can't... 16k is not quite enough to like go for an AWP, especially when you go for the double AWP setups and things like that in all of the rounds. But this A site defense is just rock solid. Nexus try and break it again, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. They went for this exact play last round, and they were demolished. It didn't even come close. Now they go for the execution again. There's effectively exactly the same configuration over towards the A site, and they make the same mistake. BTN, he's let one cross. He knows there's a man library. Holmes just doesn't have to peek though. Zello does make his presence known. That's Holmes' cue to get out, and oh my goodness, BTN! You're kidding me! It's all turned south! I was so focused on criticising the fact that they'd made the same mistake and they'd lost all those early fights. It was a 4 versus 2, and they've turned the tides. Iduzo, left in a clutch situation that I don't think he was expecting to be in. He was the insurance policy. The man to come in on the late flank instead. He was called upon as the clutch member, and he couldn't do it. There's not even a lot that Marten can do about that one either. That is rough. A lightning fast shot from BTN. And then the it's not even information. I don't even think they'd necessarily know that Maki's still going to be playing there. But it's the fact that Maki was there late round, in round number 31 as well, that he anticipated it completely. Hits the first shot, and then the fact that he even commits to a second shot through that wall as well, just sublime. Doesn't get much better than that. Final round of the first half of OT. We're level pegging. But of course, by the nature of how Counter-Strike works, one of these teams has to pull ahead at the halfway point. Remember, Marten were 10-5 up at halftime in regulation. And they had a significantly better attack than their defense, which is definitely something that's probably going to be playing on Nexus's minds right now. The fact that they're as close as they are, but actually Nexus's defense was pretty weak. We'll have to wait and see. Early damage dealt. Almost an exact amount. Holmes on 66, BTN on 67. Launix tagged up a little bit too. Definitely vulnerable to those M401Ss. I love this new era, the M401S meta. I've always been an M401S user myself, but now I don't feel guilty about it. I can whip out my hot rod and people go, ooh, rather than, why are you using the M401S? Volley into library, perfectly timed, but Catalyc tries to go for the pick, very narrowly misses, millimeters off of that shot. As the trades come through though, Maki, oh, he's just such a master of the A site. Playing on the boxes, up and down, all over the place, so difficult to anticipate. For Zello, it's crosshair's been bang on him the whole time. Oh no! Oh, it all goes wrong. It all goes wrong, and Marten almost certainly take this one over the top. Ragga has to line him up like whack-a-mole, and when all three peek you at once, there's not a lot you can do about it. That was rough. Zelo had his crosshair on the library player the whole time. Wasn't going to pop through the smoke, of course, but as it faded, both jumped through archway, and there's nothing he can do. I'm now worried for Nexus. Of course, they struggled on their CT side in the first half. They now need a flawless CT side to not go to double OT here. They need at least 2 if they want to make it and stay alive further in this map. But this is far more important for Marten at the end of the day. Marten really needs to win this one. This is their map pick. If they lose it here, I really don't think they've got a lot of chance on Dust 2. It will be down to that third and final map where they'll need to try and stay afloat. Remember, it's still early stages though, and I think this is where, in these opening matches, this is where like mistakes come through and stuff, because there's not a lot on the line. It's when you get to that 2-2 mark, when elimination is around the corner, that things start to get worrying. But for Marten, they want to get this one done and dusted. Elimination's not a thought that they're even thinking right now. A big round from the side. It's surely going to be 18, and there you go. Catholic hits the leg, swings wide with the Tech 9, 18-16. Marten map point, 2 chances to close, all the money behind them, and they're really taking advantage of the fact that Nexus's CT side just hasn't been very good here on Inferno. Collectively, this game, they've won 5 rounds on it. The other 11 have come from their attack, of course. Molly goes over. Faster play over towards the apartments. Very fast control. No one really there to contest it. There we go. Rene does pop a nade in, but drops back. And he makes a lot of noise in the meantime, so I think they should know that there's no one in apps right now. One under Balk, of course. Nexus. A bit more of an aggressive setup towards A. And it's interesting to see how these two teams actually play their A defense. Nexus, where they've really been struggling, is they've been contesting brackets control. Every round, they've got this crossfire going on. This time, mixed results. Does semi-work out for them, actually. They come on top of the damage. They come on top of the man advantage. But PTN swings wide and completely closes it out. 3 found as this third headshot comes through. And just wow. As I was saying before though, Marten, the way that they play that ace site is they play it very passive. They have a player in pit, a player over towards library, and a player on the bomb site itself. And it's this different configuration. They allow the opponents to get into top mid. They take that brackets control. It gives them more legroom, but it also kind of baits them into this false sense of security. Whereas Nexus, playing it super aggressive like that, and what it also does is when you hear the information, it gives time for the B rotates as well. That's like a really important factor with it. Whereas if you're playing super aggressive like that, it's kind of do or die. It's make or break. You hit the shots and you win the round, or you miss the shots and you lose the A site instantly, and there's no time for the B rotates, and then you just go for the saves. I don't think we saw Marten save on their CT side at all. Whereas we saw multiple rounds where Nexus had to go for like a hard save call, where they had 2-3 players even at times over towards that B site, but it just wasn't viable to get that rotation in. Interesting stuff. Interesting for sure. Double OT still on the cards here though. If Nexus can pull this next round, Maki does find that first though. As the taps go through, Zelo needs to hit this head. Finally does. Rene there to follow up as well, but Gigot and Holmes take 2, and BTN, I think, has just realised his fate. 1 versus 3, he's got to clutch up. There's the first, takes a second. He will be hailed as the king of this side if he can make this clutch work. If he takes this third, we go to double OT, and Nexus is Lifeline stays here on Inferno. They get to play further rounds to close this one out. Iduzo continuing to peak, takes further damage. BTN runs out of ammo, has to swap to the Deagle, needs to hit the head. The time's ticking. He's got a kit though, so it's not too much of a problem. And he's still doing the damage. BTN finds it. The kill comes in. Nexus. Oh my goodness, a 1-on-3 clutch to take it to double overtime. BTN. They could really do with another timeout right now to cool off after that one, but I think they've used them all. Ladies and gentlemen, I am struggling. Double OT. One of the most intense games I've covered in a while here at the Pinnacle 4 series. Normally these opening Swiss stage matchups are a little more clear-cut. They're seeded for a reason. This one has been a battle to the death, and you know, if Marten actually take this, not just this map, but this series, then they're putting in quite the statement. The new kids on the block, Holmes' new project. We see Holmes kind of move to different projects a lot. Sometimes they're successful, sometimes not so much, but coming into a tournament like this, where they'd be considered serious underdogs, going 2-0, at that point, you go 2-0, you've got to seriously screw up to get eliminated. That's a big result for them. Launex swings wide. First headshot found. Big flash from BTN. But here comes the execution, and Maki, the executioner, is able to find another headshot. Keygod trades it out as BTN finds one more. So the man advantage is there for the T's, but the retake hot on their heels. And two players very low on health. Holmes, though, holds his nerve. Big headshot found. Raga drops, and there's the second. Rene slow peeking it? I mean, alright then, buddy. You know he's there. He's still on the same angle. He's not moved a muscle. You slow peek him like that, you feed him the kill. Ho-hum. 19-18. Marten take the front foot, the upper hand once again. And I think this is where they should be able to take this one over the top. I really do. They've really favoured their T side. They've known that Nexus's defense is kind of weak here on Inferno. Even in the rounds that Nexus were able to pull back in that overtime half to take it to double OT, they were retakes. They weren't the early defenses. The early defenses really crumbled. Last time, though, they had to start off on their defense. This time, Marten can try and put 3 down on the board early. I haven't mentioned it until now, but Maka is on 45 kills. The next closest, I think, is 24. He is seriously head and shoulders above everybody else, and he's carrying them behind him. This time, he can't do so. Drops instantly. BTN and Launex completely shut it down. And Marten, it worked last time. It worked last time, going for that faster play towards the B-bomb site. This time around, they're punished for it. You can't do the same play twice. Not against these guys. Nexus, they might be making mistakes on their defense, but they're not that foolish. And it's really interesting how many times these teams, despite having money, have actually opted for these SMGs. Holmes right now has got a Mac 10. It's overtime. He's got 16k, and he's got a Mac 10. I'm not sure about it. I'll be honest. I'm really not sure about it. Let's see if he can put it to good use. Of course, he's the first man in. Playing the info play. And as the IGL, I suppose, if he plays the info, if he can go 1-for-1 in that initial engagement, or even if he dies and just does some damage, he can then just kind of backseat IGL. He can almost be the coach. Watch everybody from overhead. I'm not sure if that's really his style, but... Reduzo. Oh, can't connect there early. Rough stuff. Man advantage here for Nexus again. And this is where this could be turned around. If Nexus have a good CT side here, this could be over for Marten. They've fought incredibly hard, but 20 on the cards here, and if the Tech9s prevail, and they actually are. Oh my goodness, Catholic, what a fast shot onto BTN. Taps the bomb, hopes it baits a peek through to long. Instead, it's going to be the molly. Taps it again. He's got enough time to do this. The issue is, in his pursuit of isolating a fight before committing to the plant, the CTs come closer and closer. He has to try and push forward, and he falls to Raga up close, ready for it. Perfect stuff. What a hell of a game. 20-19. Finally, Nexus are able to pull ahead. They have the upper hand going into their T side. So maybe this is where they can close it out. Maybe, just maybe. For Maki. In top mid. Ooh, just narrowly misses the man. Could have seen him there. Well, he definitely saw him. Could have hit him, I mean. BTM right now, tucked in logs. Position definitely known. He's fired off the shots. Flash comes over, though. Oh, it lands behind him. Oh, that is heartbreak. That is heartbreak. Edged Duzo more than it did BTN. He does take a lot of damage as the molly goes down, but Holmes now vulnerable over towards B. The rotate has to be called, and whatever the call is here from Nexus, they've certainly got the upper hand. If they back over towards A, then they've got a weaker A bomb site to choose from. If they do commit to that B side of things, then they've already got the banana control to work with. Based on how Marten have been playing this A site, though, they're pretty confident that brackets is clear. They'll be checking it regardless, but they've kind of, throughout this entire game, been gifted this control. Azello swings wide. Doesn't quite sell a fake, but it does get the information that both players are over towards the B side of things. The defense is rock solid, though, as Maki and Gigod take both. Despite being the only two players on the site, BTN does take one back in return. Little too far to the right, though, on the spams. He got it bang on earlier with that AWP. This time with the AK, can't seem to have the same success. And again, another round goes Marten's way. The scoreline ties up. Maki makes it 46. Again, the closest to him on his team is at 25 frags. On the other side of things, Zello and BTN on 32 and 34 apiece. And these odds, I'm not sure if... Well, I mean, to be honest, they haven't changed. They haven't changed at all. And I'm not sure if that means that they're broken, or if that means that... Why would they change? Because it's dead even. Because, you know, when it's 0-0, those are the odds. When it's 20-20, they'd probably still be the odds. I don't know. I suppose that's how it works. But it's a little more in depth than that. Nade goes in. Oh, it does a lot of damage. Aduzo's very lucky that he didn't get caught out there as he was running back. Bit of a whiff there from Nexus to not take care of him. Those nades, oh my goodness. The slam dunk as well. It's actually like a nice lineup. Bounces off the skybox. Launex on 6 HP. Marten might be able to make this 21. And then we find ourselves in a very familiar situation where we're playing for triple OT or the win. And both of these teams seem to sort of crumble under that pressure a little bit of closing. Marten certainly did last time round. They had a 3v1. They could have just closed out the map, and BTN managed to break it. Flustered. The defense defending the bomb couldn't find the perfect positions. They maybe overpeaked him a little bit. That's what happens in those scenarios. It all goes past like a flash. 40 seconds left to tick. Nexus about to commit to this site by the looks of things. The bomb heading over towards B, though. I haven't been a big fan of their B takes. I actually think that their B takes have been really unsuccessful. As the molly goes in. Oh, Aduzo's got one to deploy as well. Oh, it's just perfect. Look at that. Launex. Oh my, they're all burning alive. That is rough. That is seriously rough. What a B hold. That is so, so good. Marten had actually held on to 2 incendiary grenades late round as well. Not really when you expect it. They deployed them both, and they do double the damage. Launex was the entry. He was the low HP man. His job was to take a fight with the first player, maybe try and get him, maybe try and... well, if he doesn't and he falls, then at least he's got the information. But falling to the Molotov doesn't give him any info. And they were all blind. And when you're blinded as well, anyone that plays Counter-Strike knows that if you're flashbanged and you're burning in a molly, you don't necessarily know. It doesn't make those same kind of sound cues. Catalyc. On the other side of the smoke. Oh, he snuck through. This is kind of big. He's got an AWP, though. I thought he just had a 5-7. Oh, that is the ballsiest play ever. And he's whiffed. Horrifically. That is rough. Had he have found that kill, we maybe would have seen a different outcome right now. 4 versus 4. If Marten loses this round, he's going to be kicking himself. But Holmes is there on damage control. Does finish off Launex. M4 from Gigon eliminates BTN. Zello left to try and take the fight. And Library wins it. And Rene? That's the one. 1v3. Can he pull off the magic that BTN did last time? Lots of damage dealt onto Maki, but he can't do so. Maki makes it 48. What a game from the man. He's got to be getting some pats on the back right now as they're going to be taking a little break before going into the next. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so before getting into the next map of this series to see if Marten can take this 2-0 or if Nexus take us 2 and bring us to a third. Don't go anywhere.